Hold on tight. Tens of thousands are without power and trees come slamming down because of high winds. We're live with a look at the damage and how long this will last. But first,
he just absolutely adored his father, but I don't know what happened to him that he would kill his father.
A family attacked in the middle of the night, an adopted son accused in the brutal murder of his father. New at 5, the plan he laid out to a friend before the attack. Good afternoon. A mother and brother remain in critical condition tonight, also beaten when Tucker Cipriano allegedly broke into his adopted family's home. That's right. Police executed 2 search warrants this afternoon in connection to this case. One in Farmington Hills, where the alleged brutal murder took place. The other is in Keego Harbor, where police arrested Tucker Cipriano. Our team of reporters is covering this story from all the angles tonight, including the plan that Tucker allegedly laid out to a friend. And we'll have more on that in just a moment, but let's get started with Chauncey Glover. He's live in Keego Harbor tonight, where police made the arrest. Chauncey?
Good evening, Carmen. Police tell me when Tucker Cipriano was arrested here at this home, he went down without a fight. And here still this evening, investigators tell me they are trying to wrap their heads around what made this teenager turn on his family in a very violent and deadly rampage.
It is a horrible scene, and you know, as bad as they come, and you know, so it's a hard scene for the officers.
We're told Tucker Cipriano was an adopted son who was no longer living here. Police say in the middle of the night, Tucker and a friend broke into a side window, hoping to steal money. But the family woke up and caught him in the act. Detectives say there was a verbal altercation, and it turned violent. They say Tucker took a baseball bat and beat his mom, dad, and little brother. The dad, Robert Cipriano, was beaten to death.
For a kid to come back after you've raised him, you know, and taken care of him all his life, and they come back and do something like this, it's heartbreaking.
Investigators say Tucker's 17-year-old brother escaped and called police. When officers arrived on scene, the 8-year-old sister opened the door. Police tell us the 20-year-old suspect was running up the stairs. He was arrested, but Tucker was nowhere to be found. A full-out manhunt. Schools put on lockdown. Hours later, up the road in Keego Harbor, police find Tucker's pickup truck.
We were able to go to the location where the suspect was hiding.
He was arrested at this home. I spoke on the phone with a close friend of the Cipriano family, who says she still can't fathom Tucker's violent rampage.
I don't know what happened to him that he would kill his father. He adored his father. He was very close with his father. I don't know what made him snap like that.
Now, that friend of the family also told me Tucker was kicked out of the Cipriano home a few years ago because of his struggle with drugs and alcohol. And reports also show he did have a drug problem. He was arrested a while back in Troy for possession of cocaine, which makes police believe that's the reason why he tried to break into the home, maybe to steal that money to support his drug habit. But Local 4, we uncovered some information that showed Tucker may have been trying to get on the right track. You can catch that story coming up on the news at 6. But for now, we're live this evening. I'm Chauncey Glover, Local 4.
All right, Chauncey, that's just the first piece of this. That's
right. Let's turn now to Lauren Podell. She joins us in Farmington Hills. And Lauren, you just spoke with a friend of Tucker's. It sounds like this was all planned out.
Carmen and Devin, his name is Ian Zinderman, and he tells Local 4 that this break-in was completely planned out. Now, if you take a look behind me, you can see police are still conducting their investigation here at the Cipriano family home. But according to Tucker's friend, when he broke in, things went terribly wrong.
He's had a very rough family relationship, you know, and he's never really liked them. But I never thought that he'd actually have such utter aggression and hate towards the people who raised him in this world.
Ian Zinderman has been friends with 19-year-old Tucker Cipriano since the 5th grade and was with him Sunday night when Tucker made plans to break into his family's home.
He wanted to run away out of country. He apparently missed a lot of court dates, and he's on probation, and he wanted to run away, but he didn't have the money. There was talk about stealing the cars there. There was talk about stealing electronic possessions that could be worth a great deal of money.
Ian tells Local 4 Tucker and his accomplice got extremely high before leaving their friend's home for Farmington Hills. Ian stayed behind and saw Tucker hours later.
And he comes in about 4 o'clock in the morning, bloody and hurt, and I wake up, see if he's okay, what happened, and and he wouldn't talk about it. Blood was all over his arm, caught onto his sleeve, his left sleeve, and he just wasn't acting himself, and I was completely worried.
Ian, along with Tucker, was arrested at the Kego Harbor home, but was questioned and released. Now back here live, Ian also gave very specific information regarding how Tucker was actually going to break into his family home. He said that there was a window in the back of the house where he was going to have his accomplice help him, give him a boost so he could get inside. But coming up on Local 4 News at 6, I sat down with two of Robert Cipriano's closest co-workers from the Dearborn Public School District, and they shed some light on how Robert was a community man and how he was before he passed. Reporting live from Farmington Hills, Lauren Podell, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Well, here's a closer look at the timeline of just how this all played out this morning. Police say it started around 2:30 when Tucker and a friend broke into the home and attacked. Around 2:50, a call was made to 911. Shortly after that call, police arrived on the scene. Inside the home, they found Bob Cipriano murdered, his wife and son badly injured. Their other son and daughter hid in a closet. They also made an arrest at the home of a man found inside with a bat, an alleged accomplice of Tucker's. And it was at 8 this morning, police finally caught up with Tucker Cipriano at a friend's house in Kego Harbor.
Sal and Tanner Cipriano were twin brothers of Tucker. Both attend Detroit Catholic Central, where students and staff say they are praying for the Cipriano family. And for that side of the story, let's go to Mara McDonald in Farmington Hills. The community really trying to rally around the family, Mara.
They sure are, Devin. The Cipriano twins are juniors at Catholic Central. Their father, Robert, was very active in the dad's club there, and it's been a really hard day for that school community. Cipriano, who was in the hospital, his brother Tanner managed to get out of the family's Farmington Hills home with his little sister. Tonight, the gravity and magnitude of what has happened here is weighing heavily on the students at Catholic Central. Father John Huber tells us they're trying to be a support for the family and the students.
We are a community in prayer. We had all of our students down in the gym a couple hours ago praying the rosary together. Our students take this very seriously because their brothers are suffering. The Cipriano family is part of our CC family, and we very much support them at this time.
Back here live, we are at North Congregational Church. This is on 12 Mile near Drake. The church is opening its doors tonight at 7 o'clock for a prayer service for the Cipriano family. Any and all are invited to come out and stay here and say a prayer for a family that is so obviously suffering greatly. We are live in Farmington Hills at this hour. Mara McDonald, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Mara. Now, as this story is quickly developing, stay with Local 4 and click on Detroit for up-to-the-minute developments. You can also see raw video of an interview with the Farmington Hills police chief. It's all right there. You'll find it on the homepage of Click on Detroit.
Right now, we are under a high wind advisory. Look at the flags and the waves on the Detroit River behind it. The wind really whipping up downtown. In fact, 52,000 DTE customers are still without power because of these winds. The outages, though, mostly scattered around town, and the wind's going to stick around for a while.
That's right. I'm holding on to my hair. Let's check in with Chuck now to get an update on things. Chuck?
Oh, it was a bad day for that, and maybe garbage cans out in the front of the house. We still have, you see all the orange-shaded counties, Carmen and Devin. That's a wind advisory until 8 o'clock tonight. That's a frost advisory, and then we've got a freeze warning farther to the north in the blue. That doesn't affect us, but the wind advisory does. And again, that runs officially until 8 o'clock tonight. But take a look at what's going on with the wind gusts at this hour. Ann Arbor still has wind gusts to almost 50 miles per hour. That's the reason for the white caps on the Detroit River as well. The wind coming out of the south, southwest, and again, the gusts are exceeding 40 miles per hour sustained, meaning blowing all the time, at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So as we track the temperatures for the next several hours, going down, still very windy, and that wind advisory goes away officially at 8, but be advised by me, it's still going to be windy. We'll see in a few minutes with an update.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Now, this is the scene in Centerline where a tree blew over into a man's home, and just to show you how powerful these gusts can be. Our Steve Garagiola joins us now live, and looks like Mother Nature is certainly whipping things around out there, Steve.
Carmen, it is still very windy out here this evening. Yeah, I'll show you some of that damage. You know, here, there's a little sign like this, even with 100 pounds worth of sand to hold it down, forget it. That didn't have a chance. We have seen the whole spectrum today, from the wind being a nuisance to the wind being downright dangerous. 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It looked and felt like even more than that. Enough to have flags straining to hang on. White caps on the Detroit River. Nobody foolish enough to take to the water in a small boat today. A real challenge for those who had to work outside and up in the air, like these iron workers from Local 25, working on the old MGM casino building.
You start on the ground and work your way up, it's all right. If you haven't been at it for a little while and you go straight to the top, then you got to get used to it all over again, but it's not a bad deal.
And then you have somebody like Tristan Spires in Centerline, who got off work this afternoon and was relaxing in his living room when the wind brought down this tree and the roof of his house crashing down on top of him.
I was sitting in the house playing on my phone, and then I heard a big crash and the ceiling came down on my head. I came outside, the tree was on the house. They checked me out, but I ain't go in because they said they can't check to see if I got a concussion on the ambulance, so I ain't want to take the ambulance ride.
Well, he wanted to keep an eye on his house, which he did. Tristan has been checked out. He's okay, but there's a hole in the roof of his house, so they won't be staying there tonight. So the wind, Chuck, you are right about that, definitely remains a factor. Reporting live in Centerline, I'm Steve Garagiola, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, it's the industries we love to hate. The rankings of the top 5 things we complain about, that's coming up.
Also coming up, she says she was fired for rallying support for Trayvon Martin's family. Up next, what this local teacher now has planned to get her job back. We'll be right back.